too. But now we do have Ra.
Oh, there we go. Hey, Ra. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Is Ollie there with you now?
He is, but he only wants to talk for a few minutes. He thinks that there's thousands and thousands of people listening all around the world, and he thinks he's a little nervous, a little shy.
That could be, but right now just feel like you're talking to a whole bunch of people that love you, Ollie. We're so happy that you will be coming on. So, Hi, Ollie. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Wow.
We're so happy you're with your grandma. Now you want to tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah. I first started with my foster home when I was first born, and then my mom and dad were the bosses until the social workers became the boss. They took me to a different foster home, and then so far I've been to 3 foster homes.
Wow. And how old are you?
My whole life.
How old are you now, Ollie?
9.
Wow. And you've been in 3 foster homes. And how was that? It wasn't. Yeah. Tell me how it was.
It's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. And I had to be without my sister for 2 years.
A year.
Actually, a year.
Wow. I bet you're happy to be with her now.
Yeah, I am very happy to be with her, and thanks for helping my grandma get me here.
Oh, your grandma has been has been keeping us posted with what's going on, and she's been so helpful to us to see what a struggle it can be for a child like you and your sister, and how the Child Services can do things to you that they shouldn't be allowed to do. I'm so grateful that you came on our show. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about how you're doing now?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy because I get to stay with my family.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic, Ollie.
Really cool.
And I'm not on any more. I can think now.
You're not what?
I'm not on meds anymore, so I can think more clear.
Oh, that's such good news, Ollie. That's fantastic. No meds, because those meds were not doing you any good, were they?
No, they were doing very bad. I woke up in the middle of the night for my night ones, and the more I took the blue pills, the more angrier I got.
It's so good that you could see how you were observing yourself and see the effect they had on you. This is so good. And you've got one very powerful grandma, and she loves you. She's an amazing woman. I'm so glad that, you must be very happy to be her grandson. And what else do you want to tell us?
That's all.
Oh, Ollie.
I don't want to go. I remember one that I don't want to go at school and then I just have to wait till I'm in grade 5 because I really need a break from my school. Because at my school they've been yelling at me, and they put me in restraints a lot.
Oh my! And that's probably because they made you take the medications too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you're in a safe environment now, and you know your grandma is so wise. She could teach you so much. You'd never have to go to school.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow. That is really good.
Ollie, you are a real joy to hear from, and you are speaking clearly. So nice to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very strong young man. You are very strong and very brave, and we're very grateful to hear you. Thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome on our show anytime, Ollie, and so are you, Naya, if you ever want to come on. And, what a joy. We really, really respect your grandma. She's doing good work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Wow.
So that's what I'm gonna tell.
Okay. That was really great, Ollie. You did great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Okay.
Good stuff, Ra.
Oh, that's great, Rachel. Oh.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I got another one here too. I got my 2-year-old grandson. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep him quiet.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess we won't be having a conversation with him just yet, but maybe one day.
No, he's learning how to talk though. He's quite just in the past, because he was here a few weeks ago, and he's come a long way just in the past couple of weeks. So, but yeah, we haven't heard. I got the one call that was on the recording from the child advocate / social worker. He likes to give himself.
Do you want to say where that's available so if people want to listen to it, they can hear it?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, is it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If they just pushed, Googled Saving Ollie.
Okay.
It would be it's on.
Saving Ollie.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, why there's only one half of the conversation is when Melissa came to pick Oliver up, he bolted, and he ran into the bedroom, and nobody could find him, and I actually thought he was hiding underneath some blankets, but he was curled up in a ball in my closet, because he thought Melissa was coming to take him, and he just, lost it. He was just screaming at the top of his lungs. When she appeared into the room, he flipped right out. She had to back up and put her hands up in the air and say, "I'm not going to touch you." So she went out and called Angela and went outside, and I was able to get Oliver out to the kitchen. And he was, sitting at the table, and Melissa come back in and told him, you have to come with me, and started bribing him with, Xboxes and Legos was another thing. It's so pathetic that, you're going to have a hot chocolate when you see Angela on Wednesday. They thought he was that, he would be easily lured.
Right.
And he just was adamant. And when he got on the phone with Angela, because it was Melissa's phone, it wasn't mine, and she didn't put it on speaker. So that's why you're only hearing one side of the conversation. So I kept a little bit in at the very start where Melissa is saying, Angela's on the phone, and then him saying hello, and then Melissa talking to Angela after the fact. And there was nothing they could do. Once Oliver was able to stand up for himself and say what he wanted, the way the laws are structured, nobody can physically touch him. They can't walk in and grab him and pull him out. He has to do it on his own. He has no choice. They can't. They've structured him in a way like even a teacher cannot grab a kid by the arm and walk him out of the classroom. It's considered assault. So Oliver, is expected to do it on his own. And when he didn't, that's when Angela came in and started. She even told him that, look what you're doing to Grandma right now. You're upsetting Grandma. And he's, no, I'm not. And he knew he wasn't, that he was just saying what he needed to say. But she was trying to make him feel guilty and use me to do it. And it didn't work. He figured out right away, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that, he said to her. So after he got off the phone with her, Melissa tried. She was here for 4.5 hours. She tried for 4.5 hours. And the last thing that was said to him was, if you do not come with me now, Angela and her superior will be here tomorrow, and you will be going with them. And we never heard back, and I just got a text from Angela telling me she was coming out on the Wednesday. So I actually kept Naya out of school for the Monday that Melissa was coming too, because I didn't know whether they would grab her at the school. I'm not sure what they'll do there. And I basically told them there's a band of kidnappers coming through town, and I know that you are basically all in it together, and you will hand Naya over. So I'm going to keep her with me. And nobody said anything. The principal was actually really good about it. She goes, no problem. Just, take her home. So
Cool.
Yeah, she didn't say a thing. I actually took her out twice. I kept her home on the Monday, and then on the Wednesday when Angela came, when she was coming, I ran to the school and I pulled her out. She was already in, and I ran and I started thinking about it, and geez, what if they stop there, grab her, have her in the car, and kind of lure Oliver in? It's like they're capable of anything. So I grabbed her before they got to town, and they came for an hour. Never once told him that he had to go back, not once. And she had a long talk with them for about 15 minutes, and she talked with Naya, and two ladies showed up. It was Angela, and I thought it was the supervisor. And when Angela went into the bedroom to speak to Oliver, I said, so who are you, the supervisor? And she says, no. She goes, I'm here representing the supervisor, and I'm Angela's colleague. And I'm thinking, legal, in the back of my head, I was thinking that maybe she's part of the legal department, because it was very strange how she didn't say her name. She didn't say I'm a social worker. She just said that she was a colleague, and they're representing the superior heads, right? So I talked to her for a while and explained all the legal name fraud, told her about the documents. I told her where to go and what was going on, explained the birth certificate, how it was obtained by social services years after that the parents never put it on, and that it was illegally attached so they could legally harm these kids. And I don't know what was being said, but I went in to talk to Oliver, and I had my recorder going, and I wish I had better equipment because they're whispering while I'm in the bedroom, the two of them. And I can hear it on the tape, but I can't hear what they're saying. I know that they're whispering back and forth because they know I'm recording them. The recorder's sitting right there, right? So I'm not sure what was said, but she said, well, what do you want for Oliver? And I said, I want him out of school, period, and he needs time to heal. I want him out of school, so no school, and back here, easy peasy. That's it. That's all I want. And I had no idea where the conversation was going until they just got up and put their coats on and said, okay, see you later. And I said, have a safe drive, and they left. And I got a phone call from that guy the next day, kind of threatening me on the phone, telling me that, you may need me because these power heads over top of Angela may decide that Oliver needs to be taken out of there. And who's going to come and get him? Like the RCMP are going to come and get him? Like who's going to come and get him? Nobody's going to come and get him. They just wanted me to go, yeah, please help me. Do whatever you have to do to, get all these things in place so you can speak for Oliver. And he was the child advocate a year ago that was brought into Oliver's life. Melissa, the foster parent, got a hold of this child advocate. That's one of the reasons they removed Oliver out of the home last summer for a month, because she did this. Wow. And Oliver had to call himself. He had to phone him and speak to him and tell him what he wanted. He went over and seen Oliver once, and you heard what he said on there. Well, you couldn't have a conversation with him up from being on those drugs. So he just abandoned him, and he left him. And that was over a year ago. Now he's coming back, thinking he's going to stand up and speak for Oliver when Oliver did fine on his own. That's why I said, I'll send you the tape, the recording. Oliver can speak for himself. He doesn't need you or anybody else speaking for him. He can do it himself. And
he spoke so well right now, too. This is what I wanted to get him on air, being a sound mind and body, not on meds, and showing his love for and his joy. I mean, it is about the child's joy. And he was clearly not in a joyful place when he wasn't with his sister and his grandma. I mean, really, that's a system.
They're very disgusting. Like they'll do whatever it takes. But now I know why this Teresa, the other worker, was just adamant about not letting him in the home, not even for a couple hours. They were worried, and she could see me. I think she knew what I was up to. And I actually have so much recording, but it's hours long, but there's so much just gobbledygook stupid stuff being talked about. So I would actually have to go into it and section pieces off, because the stuff that they're saying is absolutely unbelievable. Calling him a zombie, calling Oliver a zombie. That he can't.
Not that, yeah.
And Melissa, the foster mom, she says to me, "Do you know what I thought when you told me that Oliver was off the meds?" And I said, "What?" "Oh my God, he can think. He's going to be able to think." Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell anybody I was taking him off the meds. When Oliver came here for the 13 days, I thought it was perfect timing to do that. So as soon as the first day he was in, I started, weaning him back. And Melissa was already doing it. She was already weaning him back. So it was easy to get him off. And I had him completely clean for 4 days. Then I phoned social services and Melissa and said, "Hey, guess what? Ollie's off all the meds." I didn't tell anybody that I was doing it. So Teresa was worried about this. She was worried that once Oliver got with me, that I was gonna, help him clean up. He was gonna realize that he had unbelievable power, even though he was only 9 years old. Mm-hmm. And he used that power. Like, to hear him on that conversation, I know that he sounds upset, and I know that, he's crying. But if you would have seen Oliver 2 weeks prior to that have that same conversation, he could have never did it. He'd get so frustrated, he'd start slapping the top of his head, and he would rub the fronts of his hands on his palms down the front of his face, just fiercely. And start, he'd go to a wall and bang his head on the wall because he's trying to say something, but he didn't know how to say it. He had that conversation with Angela. He sat on a chair, curled up in a ball with the phone at his ear and never moved. And he cried, but he didn't have that anxiety. His body was very comfortable. His mind was very comfortable. And if she wasn't pushing the buttons, Oliver wouldn't even have cried.
Yeah.
She was the one saying, "You have to go back. You have to do what you're told. You have to leave with Melissa." So she was feeding it. If she would have just had a normal conversation with him, I don't think he would have even cried. He would have been able to explain to her very clearly. But he was feeling the threat, telling him, "No, we don't care what you want." Basically, he's hearing it. "No, we don't care what you want. You need to go back." And it would make him more upset and more upset. But if she would have just did that differently, Oliver would have been able to explain himself much more clearly. So now they can't touch him. Oliver has to actually leave on his own. And when Angela said she was coming out, I said, "Why?" And she said that she wanted to have a conversation with Oliver. And I said, "Why?" And she says, "Well, I want to have the two of you together so we see where we go from here." And I said, "Why? All's perfect." And she said, "Well," because I said, how do you think, are you coming to get him? Because he's not leaving on his own. And I said, "And you touch him, that's assault." And she said, "Well, no, we were hoping you would help us get him in the car." And I went, "Well, when I tell you that that's assault when you touch him, it's also when I do it." And she goes, "No, not physically." And I said, "Oh, you want me to manipulate him?" Well, that ain't happening either. So they had no support for me in any way, shape, or form. Oliver's bag wasn't even packed. So I was even going to make them pack his bag if they were taking him. We weren't doing it. Oliver wasn't doing it, and I wasn't doing it. So and I never coerced Oliver into anything because I know how sneaky social services is. And they like to have conversations with them, which she did. And it would be very easy to get out of them, "Oh, Grandma told me to say this," or "Grandma told me to say that." So I was very careful on the conversations that I had with Oliver because I didn't want social services to believe that I had manipulated this child, that it wasn't his own free will. And so I made sure I backed right away from that. But Naya did. Naya said that she told them to sit down when they show up and not move. So that's basically what he did. But I was very careful with them. Very careful with them because they were asking him, "Did Grandma tell you? Did Grandma get you to say that?" And Melissa lied right to Angela because she had said, "Is Rachel not helping you? Is like Rachel backing, Oliver doing this? Oh, no, she's doing everything in her power to help me get Oliver in the car. She could have knocked me over with a feather. I just looked at her, and my jaw just dropped. She was backing me 100%, Melissa.
Huh.
So
right.
She said, I will not touch this child. I will not. And she actually went and phoned, because they have separate workers. She actually has her own worker. And she was told, she went and had a phone call, phoned her and said, Oliver won't leave, and under no circumstance do you touch that kid. So Melissa was already told, don't lay a hand on him. So nobody can. The cops can't touch him. Social services can't touch him. The legal department isn't going to come out here in all their suits and bells and whistles and, grab him. So he's here to stay. It'll be a month that he's been here on the 17th. So we don't see him going anywhere.
Sorry, my mute button was locked. That is amazing. You're doing such a great job. And Rachel, it's good that he's not going to school. School is just another system of programming. So the more, especially if they're making him take his meds or telling him lies or teaching him the history that we're all taught, which is a pack of lies anyways. So You're doing an incredible thing. And if more grandmothers and mothers around the world felt empowered, which is what I believe you're doing, is you're empowering other women out there to go, wait a second, because we do have there's a lot of us who have had children that may have taken an opposite route to what we would, and then we look at the grandchildren and we think, wow, and they're just continuing that programming, and sometimes we can't change it. But in your case, you can change it because they were put in foster homes. And nobody wants their child in a foster home. Family should be with family. I mean, that's what family is about. Now, if the original family is, their parents had difficulties, but they were addicts at one point, right?
Yeah.
Is that how I understood it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, yet here's this grandmother who's more than willing to take care of them against a system that wants to put them into a foster home. And that's tragic. That is really tragic.
Oh, absolutely. I just cannot believe that 3 months ago, Oliver was down getting his picture taken to be sold on the Internet. No, 3 months ago. That's what they do. They advertise them on the Internet, right? So he had already been down. That's what Teresa's plans was to, adopt this child out, to take him right away from his family, and to lay all blame on Grandma. It's Grandma's fault. And she would tell him that. It's Grandma's fault. She won't do her homework. And the homework being the contract that they wanted me to agree to. And that's all it was a piece of paper. And that's what I said to Angela, it doesn't make any sense. I also have Melissa, too, because I had said to her, why has Angela, do you think, not brought up anything about with the papers with Naya? I said she brought it up last summer, but she hasn't mentioned it since. And Melissa said that Angela got in major shit, and that she was told this time with Oliver, make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. So there's no way that they were going to make that same mistake again with Nevaeh. So I was trying to explain to them, doesn't it look very clear to you that this is solely about the contract? Because if you look at the child, like Naya being here under no contract and doing so well, and I said to my husband, I said, they've lost. And Murray had said to me, he goes, I don't understand why social services doesn't look at this as a win.
Yeah. I know, you would think they would. They would say, wow, we got family back together. Yay.
Yeah. But
you're
it's
making
not.
a difference.
It's a lose-lose for them. Even Angela, I've got 2 different messages from her in the past 2 weeks since she was here last. And just, hi, how are you doing? How's Oliver doing? How's he adjusting? And I said, not much adjusting needed. I said, he just needed to know that he was loved and safe. I said, kids are funny that way. you know, like, and she just sent me back an LOL, right? But, you know, and I had said to Shock, I don't even know what the hell she's doing even calling me. And he goes, she wants to remain relevant. I went, oh, God, yeah. That's exactly what it is. She just wants to remain relevant in the whole situation. But she's not, that's all it is. It's just little text. How's he doing? How are you doing? I just say, fine, good, and with little sentences like, and she'll just say, okay, see you later. There's no talk about her coming out. There's no talk about meetings, but they have held all of his stuff. He has hardly anything here. So, like, we've had to buy him some clothes and some shoes and, you know, stuff like that because nothing came with him. He's only got a little bit of clothes. So they're still holding all of his stuff. They have all of his stuff.
They can have his stuff, as we learned.
They can have his
owning. Yeah, exactly. And then he gets to choose what he wants rather than what they decided he should have there. And
well, he doesn't have anything anyways.
Yeah,
they don't buy them anything. They don't get them anything. Like Melissa has 4 children at her home. She makes $12,000 a year off of Oliver. $12,000. Since she's had Oliver in the past year, she's taken a trip to Mexico for 2 weeks and went to the States for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And Oliver doesn't have anything. He doesn't have any toys. He has nothing. So we're, you know, stocking him up and starting to get all of his belongings for him. He has his own bedroom, his own bed. We just got to paint the walls for him. He's going to pick a color and we're going to paint the walls. And I am not putting them back in school in September. I've already made that decision. I found out that the homeschooling, you can call them, and they have where you pick out and the child picks out their own curriculum.
Cool.
So there's nobody that gets any money. The money actually goes to whoever has the child. They go to the store and pick out, like math can be cooking. Naya loves to cook. So I can pull science and math right into cooking. So what you do is you take what they like to do, you structure their curriculum around what they like to do, and it takes it right away from the government mandate of schooling, right?
Oh,
so that's what my
perfect.
plans are for September, is to just not even go back. I'm going to get a hold of I just found out about this, so I'm going to get a hold of the homeschooling, and this is what I'm going to set up for them, where they can pick their own curriculum, the things that they love to do, and they'll let out.
That's the way it should be. This is how, when we were in community many, many moons ago, you did what was around that you were attracted to doing, you know, and that's wonderful, Ra. Good, very good.
Yeah. So we're just going to keep them, keep them out of school and, and just let them enjoy being kids and having fun. Like, even their schooling can be a few hours a day. They don't need to, sit for 6 to 8 hours and do schoolwork that just bores them to death. Like, even the schoolwork that because Oliver was going on about the school in that he was really upset about that because he knows Naya only goes to school 4 days a week. And when he gets home, when he lived at Melissa's, he went to school till 3:30. He got home, he had to do homework, eat dinner, and had to be in bed by 7. So he was like, how come I don't have any fun? How come I have to go to school all the time? And Naya only has to go to school 4 days a week. And he was really, really upset about it.
What life is that for a kid? What life is that for a kid? That's just ridiculous. So how wonderful that you can let him create his own life now and his own learning processes. It's really cool.
And he loves to read. I want to keep the encouragement of reading for him. So we're going over to the library because I picked a book for him the other day. And, Marie said to me, what are you doing? He should be picking his own book. He should be picking what he wants to read. But I'm only limited here, and I've had Naya, right? So I found one little book, and it was about a little boy having an imagination, a little boy in grade 5. He read it in 2 days. I read it in 2 days. So, I'm going to get him right back into the reading because he really, really enjoys it. And, that's really important to me. He's been reading books since he was 5. He could read at 5.
Oh, no, that's the thing. Our system has been medicating the brilliant children who challenge it, who question it, and especially who don't comply, because they recognize right away, this system sucks, this isn't working. And so they get medicated, and thank goodness you could see what was happening to him, and you were able to take him off and bring back his ability to think and to behave in ways that will make him joyful rather than painful, suffering ways. Oh, this is brilliant. Ra, you're just brilliant. Brilliant.
And that's what they would tell him, if you tell us what you want. And they would tell him that. Like Melissa had him here the first time she come and picked him up after the holidays there when he came. The first thing he said to her is, I want my meds ripped up. Because he was back with Nevaeh and hadn't seen her for a year. Well, Nevaeh is drug-free. So he wants them ripped up, and he's telling her this. I can't do this, Oliver. You know who can? You. You have to tell your social worker. You have to tell your doctor. You have to tell your psychologist that you don't want to do these meds. Well, he tells them that, but they just turn around and, ignore what he wants and force him to take them. Melissa actually told him one day that if he did not take the meds, she'd have to put him down his throat. And then another thing, she told him that if he didn't take them, that he could die in his sleep. So they use ways of scaring them. To get them.
Fear-mongering. Oh, my God. Oh.
Yeah, she told him that he would die in his sleep, if he didn't take them. So he was being told there's a risk to his life if he didn't take them. And it's just absolutely barbaric, eh?
Oh, it is.
Just barbaric. And a friend of mine, Catherine, I'm hoping she's listening, that she calls in, because she's going through, the same type of thing, only, hers are a little bit older, they're her grandkids, and she actually has custody of her grandkids, and they went in at a vulnerable time in her life and kidnapped them, and now they've been separated, and it way beyond what's gone even with Oliver. Is what's being told to those kids and what's being told to Catherine. The threats are unbelievable. What's happening with her and her grandkids? It's very shocking. So, but she's in a different situation than I am, and I just having Naya here was a big help because Naya was here undocumented. She was already with family. So they were having a hard time with that. Well, why don't we do the same, why don't you do the same with Oliver that you did with Nevaeh? So I kind of had them a little bit more, but with Catherine, they kind of got her right over a barrel, threatening her every which way she turns to comply, or we'll steal your grandkids. And it's very sad to see what's going on. And we feel very alone. Like we feel really alone because nobody can walk in our shoes. Nobody can really help us through a situation like that. We kind of got to find our way through it, the maze of bullshit on our own. There's nobody that will help you. There's no legal that'll help you. It's pointless. You have to figure out how to do it on your own. And it was easier for me than it is with Catherine. Because I knew once Angela had Oliver back that things were going to change. It was pretty sketchy up to about 3 months ago. I wasn't really sure what was going to take place. I could see what I wanted, and I knew what I wanted to take place, but there was no way that I was going to I had that in my control in any way, shape, or form. So it's horrible that we don't have a voice, and we don't know how to protect these kids. And that's top priority to me. Absolutely top. Over everything. It is the kids. We need to save the kids. And
well, you do have a voice, and you're using it now. And may we call out to all the people in the system to hear these stories, to hear Ra's story and Ollie's story, because this is what the system does to our children. And children should remain with family at all times. Now, if the family itself, the original family, has got problems, then there are extended family, and that should be the natural way of doing it. To give them to not people that are taking vacations. What person with 4 kids gets to go to Mexico and somewhere else? If you know, who gets to do that? Not many of us. And so, I mean, I'm glad that she tried to do the best she could, but obviously it wasn't enough. It wasn't the love and safe home that a grandmother and grandfather can provide, or an aunt or an uncle, or anyone who has really the vested interests of that child. Which is you're doing
feel like
brilliant.
Family. You know, we have Family Day here, right?
Yeah.
In Canada, we have Family Day. Oliver was sent away. He went to respite for Family Day. He was told by Melissa that he's too angry to be part of Family Day. So he was sent away on the Friday, and came back Monday night. So he was being told like that.
Oh, my, that's our system. Holy, jeez.
Yep.
Jeez.
So he was sent away. I didn't even know until after the fact. I had no idea. Melissa never even told me. I thought she was spending it with him. Like I thought Ollie was going to be spending it with her family, but no. I found out on the Monday night when Oliver called me that he was in respite for the 4 days, and told that he was too angry to be part of Melissa's family. So.
Well, do please tell your friend to call in, too, if she does feel like it, because, I mean, we are trying to provide voices to everybody who's trying to deal with the legal system in any way, shape, or form by understanding, like you did, that it requires our consent, and we don't give that consent, and we are not a legal name. And it's a hard one for people.
I've been explaining a lot of that to Oliver. Right, but he is 9. Right? Yeah, he is 9. So, but I explained the whole thing to him about the birth certificate the best that I could, and you know, the fact that him and his mommy and daddy never gave him one. You know, so he understands all that. He understands that he's not a piece of paper. That he's a living human being, having an experience here, and it won't be altered by his choice. Right, and that's what he, you know, understands now. He knows that he's special, as all kids are, and that he's allowed to be happy and feel safe, and feel safe. Like that is a really, really big thing for me. Like even when he found out that Angela was coming out on the Tuesday night, I went in to tuck him in to go to bed, and he was crying. And he said to me, he goes, I don't know what I'm going to say to Angela tomorrow. And I told him, Oliver, you can't plan anything like that. I said, how can you plan a conversation when you're only going to know one side of it? So I was able to sit down and explain to him, you know, to just whatever he has in his heart and in his mind, that's what he's to express. Off the cuff. Don't plan anything, because you don't know what Angela's response is going to be. You can have a conversation and think about it all in your head and the way it's going to go, but you don't know what the other party is going to have as a response. So I told him, just relax and don't even think about it. And when Angela comes, you just tell her what you want and what you know, and that you'll be fine. And he just started giggling and laughing, was asleep in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what love and safety are. That's brilliant. Yeah. Oh, Ollie, I hope you're listening. Beautiful. If you're not now. Yeah. We're so happy for you that Ra is your grandma. Oh, so happy. Yeah. Does anybody else want to say anything to Ra?
This is the future. Like, this is, you know, the kids. And they're being hurt. Like, unbelievably hurt, and they will do anything. And I know that when I did say on the tape there, you know, I'll move him. I will move him. You can put my ass still. You will not touch him again. And if they could have came They would. There's no way they'd be humoring me the way they are. If they had any authority in any way, shape, or form to come and get him, they would have did it in a heartbeat. And so I know they cannot touch him. They cannot touch him. Oliver has to do it on his own. It's like phoning the child advocate. He has to do it on his own. It's the same thing with him. And now that he knows that, there's no way anybody's getting him out of this house. He just will never, ever go. So he's come a long way. He's gained a lot of strength. And that's what parents need to teach their children and show their children how powerful they are with their own words. That word no, really, really powerful when you're saying no. Yeah.
And why?
It stopped them. It stopped them in their tracks. No, I'm not going. No, I will not listen to social services anymore. I won't listen to them. No. And he just kept saying it over and over and over again. No. And that's all it took. It was amazing how they were, doing anything. Even told them they bought him an Xbox. You'll be able to go home and there'll be an Xbox.
It's incredible what humanity thinks they can do to bribe a child. And I'm so glad that Ollie could see it all. He could see the transparency of what they were doing. Oh, my. Yep. Yay. And yay for his sister.
They can't with those drugs. It keeps them scatterbrained. They can't, they know what they want to say, but they don't know how to form the words. They don't know how to form the sentence to explain, and they get all confused. And then they go, oh, look at the kid. He's all traumatized, all full of anxiety, and, can't even function on their own. And that gives them more of an excuse to give them even more drugs, right?
It's weird that they don't even have a clue that it's the drugs that are doing it. This is what's so mind-boggling. Talk about programmed. That they cannot see the interrelationship between the meds that they're taking and their ability to function as brilliant human beings. And it's being done to so many kids because they can't comply with the system that's broken. And, you're doing incredible work to expose this, Ra, in so many ways.
I've seen that come out with my boys in the 80s, with my oldest, actually, with their dad over Ritalin. I got called in for a parent-teacher, and he was 11 at the time. He's 37 now, or he's going to be 37 in May. And they wanted me to put him on Ritalin. And I asked him to explain to me why. I said, is he violent? Is he, throwing chairs? Oh, no. He gets out of his chair when we're writing on the chalkboard and talks to his friends. And that's how simple it was. It was the most pathetic excuses to get them on it, but the bullying tactics weren't there. They weren't in place yet because I just went absolutely not, and they went, okay. But it's not like that anymore. They threaten your child's livelihood. They won't be able to get a job. They won't be able to function. They won't be able to get a good education. It's just ongoing threats and bullying tactics that they're using now. Back in the 80s, they weren't. They were just kind of trickling it out there and seeing how many parents would just go, yeah, really, I want my kid to do the best in school, and I want them to be able to concentrate. So there was a few that kind of, got into it, and I don't think there was enough. And then they started with the real bullying and terrorizing families into drugging their kids. And I have a friend in Ontario that they were trying to do it with their grandson, and they actually told the mom, if you do not do this, we will take all authority from you, and we will do it. And that was in Hamilton about 8 years ago.
Well, let's go back to the origins of why they have the authority, because they claim the legal name, which is not theirs to use. And this is the whole fraud that we're exposing, is that if you use your legal name and you do get a birth certificate for your children, or you're consenting to being owned by the system so that they can do this. But as you've proven, if you do not consent, if you do not use the legal name, they cannot do it. They cannot do it. They're going to try. They're going to threaten. but this is the power that, and we do have the power. We're exposing the legal name fraud. We don't own the legal name. It's Crown copyrighted, and it consents us to being slaves of a system that is barbaric. And you're giving a perfect example of it. And I think we all have our own.
Because if I would have signed any of those papers and I was in this same situation, they could send the RCMP to take Oliver. And if I refused, to open the door or let them in or whatever, I would have given the authority to arrest me because I would not be conforming to the contract that I had agreed to.
The contract. Thank you for reminding us. It's about offers and contracts, and if you accept the offer, then you've made the contract. So be aware of all offers. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know now that I wouldn't have had a pot to piss in if I would have signed anything involving them. Anything. I would have never been able to, keep Oliver safe the way I've been able to do. Because I would have allowed, you're breaking the contract, Rachel, and they would have been after me and might have charged me for not giving their product back. Because I would have agreed to do that.
Yeah, and there you go, commodities. That's all we are in this system. We are commodities. We are not living beings. So it's a choice to be a living being or a commodity. And it's a hard choice to become a living being. Because we're all used to being the commodities and getting what we think is good services for being a commodity. But if you really look around, our healthcare system is a sick care system. There is no welfare. People who do receive welfare is abominably low, and most people are living on next to nothing, working from one paycheck to another, and that's our system. How in the world do we want to uphold that? Oh, by signing our names on documents. That's how we do it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I told that guy, I says, you can't fix a system and work within a system that's never meant to work.
Yeah.
So why would we ever be part of that?
Yeah.
And that's what he was trying to coerce me into. Like I'm here, I'm separate from the government. No, you're fucking not. No, you're not. You're part of it. What are you talking about? I phoned your number. It says Alberta government. How can you say that you're working for and protecting the child when you're working for the enemy?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make any sense. That's why I said Oliver has his own voice. He can say whatever he needs to say for himself. And he doesn't need to sit in a courtroom to do it. And that's why they were trying to get me into the courtroom. Well, here, Rachel, we want you to have him. So just file, and we'll give him to you. I could see that a mile away, what they were doing there. Like, there's no way. Why would I do that? You want me to go to court and ask you permission? Well, there's no fight.
Yeah.
So why would I even bother engaging in a fight? Because that's what it is. You want me to fight for him. And you want me to give you the authority to make the decision who's going to win the fight. And it's just never, it's not going to work like that. It just can't. The kids the kids are more powerful than the parents and the grandparents. Oliver did this.
Yes,
so I kind of just smoothed the path out for him, but he's the one. If Oliver did not react in the way that he did, they would have taken him. Oliver kept himself safe. And I know that for a fact. Like, if Oliver would have reacted in a totally different way and, started, okay, well, I'll go, and, they would have taken him. They would have went, he would have went. But he was able to say no. And the kids can say no. They can say no.
They can.
And they just don't. They don't realize that they have that power because they're kids and they're adults. Like, can you imagine Oliver all by himself with all these adults telling him this is the way it's going? He didn't even have an ally, like another kid there with him.
Yeah.
He didn't have his sister. He's by himself. So he's all by himself with a bunch of sociopaths all telling him what's best for him. So he was kind of backed into a wall. It would be very intimidating to be that young and have so many people telling you this is the way your life is going to be. And you don't have a choice in it. And when you're 9 years old, you just think, okay, well, that's the way it is. They're the adult, and they're scared on top of it. You know, so the kids need to realize how much power that they do have, that they can speak for themselves and start telling everybody what they want, from their schools to whoever it will listen. They need to start to speak out, not to be so scared and intimidated, because these people are powerless. They're absolutely powerless unless the kids are willing to give them the power. And it's the same with us. They're in the same position as us as adults. If we're going to give them the power, then they're going to win. It's the same thing with the kid. It doesn't matter about age. It totally doesn't. Yeah, a 2-year-old or whatever that could. But Oliver at 9, Nay at 11, they're old enough to understand and speak for themselves. So once they were able to do that, then the authorities had to back off. So he's not going back. We know that. You know, like they would have taken him. You know, that week Angela would have left with him. 2 weeks ago. So leaving him here longer and longer and longer isn't gonna help their case in any way, shape, or form. So she's just gonna back off, and they know they're not gonna get any documents signed from me. So it's this is a win. A win, definitely.
It is a win. Oh, I'm so glad you came on our show to tell us, and I want you to keep us updated. And Ollie, if you are listening, we love you. Oh, my, do we love you. Yeah.
Such a brave young man.
Hi.
Yay.
Hey.
Say hi.
What a
baby.
That's all. Or it's Elijah. He's just saying hi.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'll let just go on mute out here and let somebody else have a chance. And we'll stay in touch.
Oh,
thank you so much
for sharing, Rachel. Yeah.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody. I'm going to put you on mute. I'm still going to listen to the show.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right, then. Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
What a great, brave family. Such courage.
Wow. I mean, there's a story from the heart. Yeah.
And he's surely a brave young man to do what he's done, and he's freed himself, and he'll stay free forever.
Oh,
because he's
beautiful.
free in his heart now. Great. Good stuff. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have a story to share? We've got about 16 minutes before rollover, and I'm not sure if we're rolling over, unlikely, but you never know. Does anybody else want to jump in and or share their impressions of Sweet Oliver and Ra's work as a grandmother? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's taken a while, but no one gave up. And the beautiful part was that Ollie, even though he was messed with the drugs, he still had enough knowing of who he is and what he wanted. And that he was able to react in such a way. He proved that he wanted to stay by hiding and curling up in the ball and hiding in the bedroom. That was enough said to me to say, look, I want to stay here and I don't want to go with you. And what a
very
not
brave.
Give up. And very brave. Very, very brave.
And wonderful that he has a sister that also was on meds, took herself off meds, and he can see her shining, and she is shining clearly from the love they have for each other. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Love. And
exactly. There we go. Right back to where we started.
Back to love. Now, love is always the right choice.
Love is all there is. Yeah, it's the choice. When you let go of that fear and you choose love, and you know love is what it is, that is the answer to everything, and wow, there's no stopping you then. That's for sure. But great story, and many thanks to Ra. I know she has posted up the link to the video, but like she says, Saving Ollie will get it. If you search for that on YouTube, you can catch that audio. But I felt, and you did, Libby, that them telling their story themselves was so beautiful on this From the Heart video show. It was one thing that we were really glad to hear, was them both speaking from their heart of how the story went. And what a story. It's great success. Like she said, it was a success, and it is a success, and they will continue to be successful because they know what it is to have your freedom taken away and to get it back as much as is possible in this current way of the world. But yeah, they have proven that they can do it if you don't give up. You don't give up. You keep seeing what you choose, and they chose to be together. And what they've got now, they're together. It's so beautiful.
Oh, they are. It is. It's really heartwarming to see what a grandmother's love can do to conquer a system that's doing everything in its supposed power to threaten her from being a natural woman, a grandmother who loves her children, grandchildren, and children. And, you know, you don't want to interfere with that power, because the power of a mother's love or a parent's love is enormous. It's enormous. That can't be conquered.
That's right. That's right. And that's what family is. And, you know, the human family is a family when there's love involved. When there's ulterior motives, such as being paid or just doing it for a job or whatever, that's a very different energy. But when the reason for being and the reason for doing what you're doing is for love, that's why they won out, because there was love in every direction in this family with Ra and with Ollie and the whole family. They wanted to get back together because there was love, whereas the other people were doing their jobs. And I know, I believe that the foster mother was kind at least, but ultimately it was really a bit of a job she was doing. Was able to go on vacations and stuff like that. So I'm not going to put her down, because I do understand that, you know, it wasn't like a terrible place for him to be. But at the same time, when the ulterior motive is love and when it's something else, two different results. Yeah.
And wouldn't it be nice if every mother with every child got paid $12,000 a year minimum for taking care of this child? Because we know that for the most part, most women's work is unpaid, unless it's the care of other children. And even in that case, depending on the offer and deal that you make or receive, it's all about money. It's not about, you know, we just stop this money thing. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Many have so little and so few have so much. Yeah.
And the ones that have